How do you get someone to accept change? It's not easy, right? And you've seen in many of my blogs how the brain creates neural pathways and classifies things in neat little boxes. And when this happens, the brain puts that in this box. And when this happens, the brain puts that in that box. But when there's no box for this, the brain goes into panic mode and has to quickly create a new box for this. So we're not really hardwired to love change. But why is it that some people eventually will have a better ease into accepting change? And how do we get somebody that really doesn't like change to actually do it? Because sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes it's not oh, I'm going to wear blue instead of red, or I'm going to eat this instead of that. Sometimes there are big changes that we don't even have a choice. The building is being demolished and the whole office is moving into a new location. There is no choice. We need to accept that. And some people, even when they don't have a choice, they're very, very reticent. They're very against change, and it's really hard to make them accept it. So let me introduce you to one of the lab profiles. So the lab profiles, I have talked about lab profiles before. They are language and behavior profiles. So they are the systems inside our brain that control all the other systems. They control our behaviors. They control what we want to do, our desire, our actions. So we can classify the lab profile. They were created by Roger Bailey and made known internationally by Shelley Rose Charvet, especially with all the work she's been doing with the lab profile for the past 25 years. We classify these lab profile in two different category: the motivation patterns and the productivity pattern or work style pattern. So motivation is what inspires us to want to do something like accepting change, and then the productivity or work style pattern will be the way we work with each other. So let's focus on the motivation patterns, on one of these motivation patterns, specifically the decision factors. So the decision factors, how people decide to accept a change, depends on three different factors. Some people like sameness. So some people like everything to remain the same. They wear the same type of clothes. They eat the same meal. When they go to a restaurant, they order the same thing. Their home will not really change. They like to do a task that will be repetitive. So everybody that has the type of job where they will be doing payroll, the same thing week after week, will be very happy to do something the same if their decision factor is sameness. Because if they liked differences and they liked everything to be different, they'll be very unhappy with a repetitive job. Then we have people that like sameness with exception. So a little bit of a change, more of this, more of that, less of that, less of this. Or we have sameness with exception and differences. Their life is always the same, and all of a sudden, they buy a new car that makes things different. So they move, but then from there, everything goes again with sameness and exception. And a big difference, and then sameness with exception again. We call those the progress lab profiles. So that would be people that either like things to improve a little bit or have a big change and then continue on the same path of improvement. And then the third one is differences. They don't like when things are the same. Oh, well, for me, it's not like that. They don't like to follow the path that somebody else has traced. So they go outside of the norm. If everybody goes one way, quickly they will go another way. They like differences when things are going in different directions. So let's take, for example, a company that has been doing the same thing for years. Maybe for a company, sameness is not a good idea. For an organization, we want at least progress, either sameness with exception or exception and differences. And then all of a sudden there's a major acquisition. The company is going to double in size with more employees. So that's when there's a big difference that's happening. It could be classified as a sameness with difference or completely different. So how do we talk to the people that like sameness? Because that's the title of this blog. How do you get somebody to accept change? You will use language that sameness people like. You will point out every single thing that will be the same. So even though you're moving into a brand new building, it's not going to help to tell the sameness people, to tell them, oh, you're going to love it. You know, it's going to be all brand new. You'll have a new desk, new office. Everything's going to be brand new there. It makes them freak out more and more as you use this language. So for the sameness people, you will use language like, well, it's going to be the same job that you're doing. You point out everything that is the very same, everything that you have in common. You're going to work with the same people. You can bring your same computer. We can buy very similar furniture. The same thing as you've always done before. It is just like what you know. Nothing will be unchanged in your function. So you try to find everything that will be the same. And that is what you put into light to make them notice that a lot of the things will remain unchanged in the new building. The progress people, you will say, you know, it's going to be kind of the same building, but a little bit more of this, a little bit better, less of that. It's going to be the same except for a few things. It's going to be evolving. There's progress. There's gradual improvement. And for the people with difference, these are the ones that you will say, oh my gosh, it's going to be brand new, totally different, completely changed. It's going to be a big shift, unique, revolutionary, brand new. And these are the words you want to avoid with people who do not want to accept change. So hopefully this was useful for you. That gives you some ammunition and some language to use with people who do not want to accept change, to just slightly put them into a better mood or a better state so that they can accept change more easily.